Yo guys, how's it going? In today's video I'm going to show you how to make UK bass music.
Good riddance. Said this one wicked.
UK bass or bassline is a type of bass music that involves heavy 4x4 drums and crazy basses. It involves anything from upbeat tracks like Skepsis and TS7 Freak, all the way to filthy tunes like this Notion track, or this Lorenzo track. But they all follow a similar pattern, and that's what we're going to be looking at today. We're going to look at how to put the drums together, then we'll look at how to put the instruments together, then the vocals, and then last but not least, the drop. And we'll also look at things like effects. Let's get into the video. So the first thing we need with the drums is a kick drum. So if we go up here to every step, and we're just going to add in the kick drum here, 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 and here. So this is every single beat we want the kick drum to hit, and it should sound something like this. So next, to get that 4x4 sound we're looking for, we're going to add in a clap, and this is going to come every other beat. So here, 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 and here. And if we listen to this, we have the start of the drum sound. Now all I've done here is add in more claps to layer it. So I've got clap 2, clap 3, then we've got a snare, and a final one. So now it's layered really well. And if we have a look at the post-processing of this, so you see you've got the kick drum, and this just has some basic EQ on it, and then some compression, and some default setting fab filter. And then all these claps are going into this clap group, and we've got an EQ on it, getting rid of the lows, a Saturn, decapitator, and then an stereo enhancer, putting it in mono, and then just more little EQ and distortion tweaks. So we've really gone ham on this clap to make it as hard hitting as possible. So experiment with different claps, and remember, different claps work with different tunes, so this clap might not necessarily work with different basses and different vocal elements and things like that. Next, we've got the hi-hat. In this case, it's a shaker style hat, so let's add this in now. And we're going to put this, if we go to step mode, we're going to put it in between the kick and the clap. So we're going to put one here, 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 and here. And now let's go through and check all the extra elements we've got in this. We've got another hi-hat here, layering the hi-hat on the last hi-hat of the bar. And then here we've got a key shake element, and here we've got car windshield effect, and then we've got another hi-hat here which is layering with the shaker hat, and altogether it sounds like this. And then if we just have a look at the tune as a whole, it stays like this for the first 8 bars, and then what we do for the next 8 bars is we add some variation, and in this case we've added a shaker which sounds like this. And you can experiment with different things. Also, at the end of the 8 bars we've added a snare here, and that is playing like this. As you can see, if we go on step mode, it's here, 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 and here. And that just adds a transition effect into the next section. If we look at these drums in the intro, all we simply do is we make them more simple. So in the intro, all we've got is the kick, some of the claps, and the hi-hats, and then we've also got some percussion elements here as well, and then the shakers come in the intro as well. So the first 16 bars is simple. The next 16 bars is a bit more complicated, as it builds into that transition effect where we move into the build up. So let's hear it. So in the first half of the build-up area, all we have is hi-hats playing and one of the claps. And then in the second half, we stop all the claps for the first half of the second half. And then we add in a kick drum and the claps, and they're built up like this. So let's have a look. And then on the last beat of the bars before the drop, we have a clap, and then it goes into the drop. So feel free to follow this exactly or tweak it a bit and see what you can come up with. But this is an overall idea of how to make your drums for bass music. I've also got loads and loads of these drum samples and loops in my production suite Mayhem, which is available on my website, link in the description. So next we're going to look at the vocals. First of all, there's 3 main ways to get vocals in your tracks. You can get samples through websites like Splice or from sample packs on websites on the internet, things like that. Or you can use acapellas, but then you may have issues releasing on platforms like Spotify with acapellas because you don't have the copyright clearance for those tracks. So just be mindful of that. But it's really good for things like SoundCloud and practicing production if you don't have any other vocals available. The second way is to use your own voice. So if you think you've got a half decent voice, or you can pitch it down or up to make it sound better, then give it a go and record it with your own vocals. And then the third and final way, and the hardest way, is to get a vocalist on your track. And this is probably the best way, but it is also the hardest way because you need connections and you need to know people, and your production needs to be at a high enough level to get those high level vocalists that you want on your track. So depending on your production level, this is more of a long-term goal. So the track here that I'm going to show you is getting a vocalist on the track. And this is a very talented rapper called Grizzo. Check him out if you haven't already. And he has sent me various things, and then I've gone and processed it and put it into the mix. So the structure of the vocals goes as follows. So on the first 16 bars, I use the ad-libs that he sent me, and I put delay on them, different styles of delay, different effects to make it interesting. And then we have the next 16 bars, which is the breakdown into the build-up, and this is where the main verse plays, along with lots of different ad-libs. And then we have the drop, where we use elements from the main verse in the drop at certain times when the bass might not be playing or when it feels right for it to come back in. And then we have the varied part of the drop, which brings in another vocal element. So this is another sort of verse that's gone over the drop, so you could sort of call it a chorus, I guess. And then we've got more ad-lib elements over that. So 1, 2, 3, and then a bonus fourth. The fourth isn't necessarily always essential. You could reuse elements from the verse, but Grizzo did a really good job here and just gave me so much to work with. So it was really good, and I managed to get lots and lots in. So let's just go through each element now. So let's go through the first bit. So I'm just going to play the first 16 bars.
No rest for the wicked. Hey, said this one wicked. Big Rizzo, Southwest Sicko. Out to Arcnade, Dynoscope. Said this one wicked. Aye.
So you hear that there? I've got loads of different effects, decay running out of each one, and that gets you that effect. So have a play around with vocals you've got, try adding some decay to it. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments. So next we have the verse, and this is just a big main vocal that's 16 bars long, and it's got lyrics throughout in this case. And we've also got ad-libs going over the top, as you can see on the screen. So let's have a look here.
Aye. No rest for the wicked, my flow wicked. Brand new one, yeah, I call that wicked. Bang on target, lick down wickets. Can I kick it? Yes, I kill it. Hole in one, done with missing. No more kidding, all bullshitting. Too many weak MCs on rhythm. I came to tell them it's good riddance. No rest for the wicked, my flow wicked. Brand new one, yeah, I call that wicked. Bang on target, lick down wickets. Can I kick it? Yes, I kill it. Hole in one, done with missing. No more kidding, all bullshitting. Too many weak MCs on rhythm. I came to tell them it's good riddance.
And then it drops. So yeah, in this case, it's just vocals throughout, and I've not had to make any changes because Grizzo's done a pretty much perfect job. So I've just added it in, and then what I showed you before was the processing that I did onto it. So it's just got that processing, and then it's going into the reverb channel here, which you can see. And that's it. And then we've just got little bits over the top that he's recorded on top of it to ad-lib over it to give it some depth and layering. And that is the verse done. And then let's move on to the drop. So the next 16 bars, we'll play it with the drop so you can understand why I've put them there. So let's play it all. So let's listen. So as you can see, I've added it in to keep the track moving, to keep it flowing. Even though I've only added it in a few times, I feel like that's effective. There's quite a lot of other stuff going on in the track. So let's look at the final bit now. So this is just an additional verse that Grizzo has rapped, and this is what it sounds like. And we've just got more little ad-libs over the top.
No rest for the wicked, my flow wicked. Brand new one, yeah, I call that wicked. Bang on target, lick down wickets. Can I kick it? Yes, I kill it.
And there we have it. There we have the vocals. Now I'm going to pass you over to Dynoscope, who will show you how he made the intro.
Thanks Arcanate. Yes, my name is Dynoscope, and I will show you how I came up with the idea of our new song Good Riddance and how I made the intro and the break part of it. So the actual idea for the song came from another song I made back in like 2020. It was called Break It. I will say let's have a listen, and you will probably recognize some elements I've used in Good Riddance. So let's go. So you might gonna recognize this part. So yeah, that's Break It. I was never quite happy with the drop, so I've decided to not release this version. However, I was still a big fan of the intro. So I've decided to send it to Arcanate and ask him if he would like to work on it, which he did. And yeah, I will say let's jump into the project and I will show you how I did the intro. Let's go. So yeah, here we have the project of Break It. So the kick, the clap and the head changed in the final version. But yeah, you get the point. I'm starting off with some pads, with some effects and some atmospheres. And also some percussions. Just to fill up the intro a little bit more. So now we start with the main part of the intro. This sound probably makes the whole song. It's a splice loop, it's this one. Yeah, it gave me a pretty dope, pretty angry, dark vibe, so I used it in this one. Then I layered it with some bass, with this bright, angry bass. So here we hear it on itself. I've layered it with some sub bass and also with some strings. So everything together. So to add the final touches, I've added some shakers, some more effects, even more effects, and then an impact to make like more of a epic effect here. And also there is this tiny little alarm going off here, and the vocal loop, which I cut into pieces and re-looped it. Yes. And then it dives into the main intro. So yeah, that's how I made the intro for our new song, Good Riddance. I've added some melody changes in the break, but basically it's the same with the same elements. So yeah, that's it from my part. Now back to you, Arcanate.
Now we're going to look at how Dynascope and I made the bass for this tune. So let's open up a Serum patch. So we've got Serum open now, so we're just going to apply it to a channel. So we're going to use 21. Now let's create the bass. So let's start with basic shapes, and we're going to put this down 2 octaves, increase the wavetable position to here, and then we're going to set the level to around about here. Let's turn the phase and the rand off, and then we're going to open a second channel, and we're going to get hyper, and then we're going to put this up to 1 octave and 7 semitones, so it should sound like this. And let's reduce the level again, and the phase and the rand off. And let's increase the unison to 4. And then we're going to keep the key tune and the blend the same. Now let's come down to the LFO and let's create this. So we're going to have it on envelope, and we're going to have it on 1/4. And then we're just going to adjust this top one slightly to around about here. Adjust this a tiny bit, and then move this down here. So we've got a nice shape for the bass. Now let's apply this to both of these knobs here. So let's put sync on here and apply it just a little bit, and let's put FM from B here and apply it just a little bit, just like that. Now let's get the filter on. We're going to leave it as MG low 12, turn the cutoff right down, apply channel B, and let's put the LFO on here. And you see we're starting to get that sound. So let's turn the res down. And I'm liking how that's sounding. So let's put mono on here. And now let's go to the effects channel. So let's start with a filter. And we're going to choose the reverb channel in MISC. Turn the mix right down and apply the LFO to it to about halfway. Turn the cutoff down a little bit more. Now let's add some distortion, and we're going to use Asylum here. Turn this up. And now you're starting to get that gritty bass line. So let's turn hype on. And just adjust that slightly. There we go. Now let's add some compression, and we're going to make this multi-band. So let's turn the gain up, something like that. Now let's get the EQ, and let's adjust this slightly. So let's turn it onto this channel here, turn the frequency down, and the Q and the gain will leave the same, and then let's apply this. Let's turn the frequency to here, and then the gain up. And then the Q down, so like this. So there is a bit of clicking at the moment, and we'll come back and fix that. So let's first add reverb. So we're going to turn this right down. Now normally I don't add reverb to my channel because I do it later on, but in this case I've just got a little bit of reverb on it. So like that is fine. And that is everything. So now let's look at the post-processing. So if we turn this on, and we'll add one at a time. So we've got OTT first, here, with these settings. Then we've got Decimort on the high tonal disturbance setting, which is here. Let's turn this on. And then we've got our EQ here, cutting out the lows and adjusting the mid to highs slightly. Now let's look at removing that clicking sound. And we can do that by adjusting the sustain on here. And then you'll have to just play around with these levels for your own taste. But that's got rid of the clicking for now. So if we were to play this like the tune, let's just add it to this. So let's put on pattern. So there we have the pattern. Sorry, it was still clicking a little bit, so I'm just turning the attack up here. And then what we can do is duplicate this and put this in channel 22. And if I turn these on, I've got an EQ to get the sub of this sound. And then I've got a R bass mono in the same key, 80 frequencies, to get it sounding heavy. So let's duplicate this onto here. We've got a sub bass as well now. And there you have the sound. Now you might be wondering, how does it sound even crazier in the mix? And what we've done is we've actually resampled it many times. So what we've done is created the bass, then we've exported it as a WAV, and then we've put it back into the track and done more post-processing to it. And we've just like experimented until we got the perfect sound. And it's kind of impossible to show you how we did that because there were so many steps to it. But it just shows that there's loads of different ways to get a crazy sounding bass. But this is as close as I can show you just using Serum. So feel free to copy this, make your own adjustments to it, see if you can make some cool basses with this kind of sound and use it in your track. So now we've applied everything, let's listen to the final product. For watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like. Now if you want to learn how to make loads and loads of bass drops like this one, make sure to check out my website. There's a link in the description, arcnade.com. There's a bass production suite you can check out and lots of other sample packs. And if you want a more personalized learning experience, there's also my Patreon. And make sure to check out the track we just went through, Good Riddance, which is now out on all platforms. I'll see you all in the next one. Take it easy.